Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod Science Classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss some of the news items that appear in today's Hindu, dated 7th June 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 8 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first topic. Title says Punjab, Tamil Nadu and Kerala top education index ranking. So this article mainly talking about recently here Ministry of Education that released one index, that is performance grading index, that is PGI 2019-2020. So because of this is in news. So how this article will be important? So as you know, in your static syllabus, so there is education as a topic in your GS paper too. So whenever any report which is released regarding education, that will be important from UPSC point of view, from both the prelims and also mains. In prelims, you can expect direct questions from this index. In mains, you can add this article as an example whenever you are writing your mains answer or even essay. So in this way, this topic will be very important. So now let us try to see this topic. Overall, this index will be important regarding GS paper 2. Under this, education is our important topic. So if you see context, it mainly says that Punjab, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, they have all scored higher than 90% in Education Ministry's Performance Grading Index 2019-2020. So recently this Ministry of Education released this Performance Grading Index. So in this index, Punjab, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, they all scored higher than 90%. So now let us try to see some details. It mainly says that Gujarat dropped from 2nd rank to 8th rank in this index. So first important thing. And second one is Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. They are only states they seen actual regression, that means decrease in score over this period. And next one is this index mainly monitor progress in states, union territories with regards to learning outcomes and as well as infrastructure governance in education. So if you see some key highlights of this report, it mainly says that Punjab recorded highest score of 929 out of 1000 and it jumped from 769 last year. So because it made it top in equity, infrastructure and also governance regarding education. So this is first important key highlight. And secondly, Gujarat went to place 8th. From 2nd place it went to 8th place because of regression in key domain access to education, enrollment of students in school and also even regarding ability in keep from dropping out. So it is not taking any steps to decrease dropping out from schools and as well as to increase enrollment and as well as some domain areas. So because of this, the ranking of Gujarat that decreased from 2nd rank to 8th rank in this index. And 2nd place by Chandigarh, and Kerala also top in domain of access, and Tamil Nadu also overtook Kerala, and Tamil Nadu got a score of 906 out of 1000. So these are some key highlights. And even new union territory, that is Ladakh, which is included separately for first time in this index, and it got lowest score of 545 out of 1000. So now let us discuss some facts here. So here this index mainly launched by Ministry of Human Resource and Development, and this Ministry of Human Resource and Development launched this 70-point program performance grading index. So this mainly launched to access this quality of education provided by different states. So what is purpose of this index? So first one is this index will be very much helpful to identify areas of deficiency in each school or in schools which are present in each state. So first one is we can understand or we can identify deficiencies in school. And next one is whenever we are coming this type of indices, then they can understand where they are lagging. So because of this, finally it will encourage states and as well as union territories to adopt practices in online recruitment, transfer of teachers, electronic attendance of students and as well as teachers, etc. And if you're talking about main features of this index, so this mainly grades all states and also union territories, and online and all grading will be generated by software during the pilot project. So whenever this was implemented, they came up with a pilot project, and this pilot project they used 10 indicators under the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and now there are about 7 indicators. So these 7 indicators are divided into two types. First one is outcome based indicators, second one is governance processes. So these outcome based indicators, they are further divided into 4 domains. First one is learning outcomes, second one is access outcomes, infrastructure, facilities outcomes, and here governance processes, they are included under some categories like alternative teacher adequacy and administration adequacy, training of teachers, and accountability and transparency. So if you are talking about total weightage of all these indicators, it is about 1000 points, and grading system mainly envisages third party verification also, that is done by international organization, that is UNICEF. So these are some important things that should remember, and these points are important from both prelims and also mains. So I hope it is clear now. Now let us move on to next topic. Title says since February Pact, it's all quite on line of actual control. So in this article you need to focus on what is this line of control and what is this February Pact and what is this 2003 ceasefire agreement. So these are important points that should remember regarding this topic. So first let us see background. So if you see background, recently between India and Pakistan, they agreed to follow this 2003 ceasefire agreement from February. So it is called as February Pact. So since 100 days, so along this LOC, that is line of actual control, so this is present between India and Pakistan. So infiltrations are very much less. Okay, from last 100 days, from whenever we agreed this February Pact, so infiltrations are very low. So because of this, it is giving some freedom for people mainly to move out. Okay, so this is an important background. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 2 under international relations. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. First of all, let us see map. So this is India map here, right? So this is Aksai Chin area. Here we have Pak occupied Kashmir, and here this line which is demarcating here, it is a line of control, that is LOC. So here we are having L is a line of actual control. So please don't confuse here. So LOC which is present between India and Pakistan, and LA is a line of actual control, that is between India and China here. So if you see this territory which is mainly ceded by Pakistan to China. Okay, so this is about this map here. So now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that there has been no exchange of fire nor infiltration attempts across this LOC region. After this February Pact, we agreed to follow this 2003 ceasefire agreement. So from then, that is from February onwards, there is no exchange of fire or any infiltration attempts across this LOC, that is mainly seen. So over since commitment by India and Pakistan to adhere this 2006 ceasefire agreement, so there is less number or there is no infiltration or no firings that is seen in this region. So if you see some details, it mainly says that there has been no infiltration attempts and there is nothing like reporting regarding infiltration along this LOC region. And the presence of terrorists as launch pads, it is mainly reported in this region. So however, there is no infiltration, but also we can see some terrorists, their launch pads, they are reported in this LOC region. And if you see what is significance, so first and foremost thing you need to remember from civilian side. So here border population, it is the biggest beneficiary with this infiltrations or coming less. because this mainly provides some huge relief for these villagers, and they can able to move freely whenever there is no firing which is taking place. So whenever there is no firing which is taking place, so here this border population who are living in that area, they will be biggest beneficiary. Okay, so this is significance. And this article also talked about some concerns which are facing. So first one here is, so here if you are talking about across this LOC, if you are facing one problem of ceasefire violations. So from last year there are about 4,600 ceasefire violations that are found, and this year just 592. And if you see here, along this LOC we are facing one more problem, that is smuggling. Okay, so in last 100 days the major seizures of narcotics and improvised explosive device instruments, and as well as grenades and pistols, they are mainly smuggled along this LOC region. So this is one cause of concern. And now let us talk about what is this 2003 ceasefire agreement. So this will be important from prelims point of view. So if you see this agreement, original ceasefire agreement was reached in year November 2003, and after 4 years after this Kargil war. So we had Kargil war between India and Pakistan in year 1994. That means after 4 years of this Kargil war, we came up with this 2003 ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan. Okay, so this ceasefire agreement, which remains a milestone because it brought peace along this LOC region until 2006, and in 2006 we came up with another agreement. So here if you see this ceasefire agreement, which mainly facilitated opening of two important routes. First one is Srinagar to Muzaffarabad. Next one is Poonch Rawalkot routes. So because of these two routes which mainly opened, so that led to way for buses and as well as truck services for the first time in last 6 decades in this region. And these routes, they also encourage cross-border contacts and as well as exchange of culture, travel and also trade. So this is the gist of this topic. And now let us move on to the next topic. Title says Odisha's forest produce gatherers hit hard. So if you see why we need to talk about this Odisha's forest producers. So those are mainly tribal people, right? Whenever you are writing any answer regarding what is impact of COVID-19 on this society, you can also include this article as a case study, because these tribal people who are living there will also comes under part of our society. So we also need to think about this group of people also. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under society and GS paper 1 social issues. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article mainly talking about forest dwellers in Odisha, right? So if you are talking about context, it mainly says that, so this is for second year running. Here forest dwellers across Odisha, they have been deprived right price for non-timber forest produce, that is NTFP. For non-timber forest produce, so there is no right price which is mainly given to this Odisha's tribal people now. So why? Because of this COVID-19 pandemic, so government came up with imposition of partial lockdowns or night curfews, and now we are seeing some areas there is lockdowns which are implemented. So because of this lockdowns which are implemented, so here buyers, they are not coming to market. So because of this, what happened, this led to decrease in right price for this people. Okay, so if you see some details, it mainly says that because of this COVID-19, that disrupted local economies, and now forest dwellers, they could not get a price for their produce because of absence of buyers. Okay, so around this time here, that means in this summer season before rainy season, so this tribal people, they will go into forest. They will collect sal leaves, tamarind, saline leaves, mohua flowers, mango kernels and karanja seeds and char seeds, etc. And whatever the money which is earned by selling these non-timber forest produce in summer, it helps to survive for those people for next critical 4 months in this rainy season. Okay, and this money mainly used by these people in investing in agriculture activities. But what happened here, because of this lockdown, this income of these people mainly deprived now. So if you're talking about some steps which are taken by government, yeah, TriFed is there. So this TriFed mainly stands for Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India. So it is mainly promoting some Bandhan Kendras, Vikas Kendras. It is mainly trying to ensure minimum support price for this minor forest produce. So this is gist of this topic. Now let us see next topic. Title says more antibodies produced by Covishield and Covaxin. So this article mainly talking about two vaccine candidates are present in India. So this article will be important regarding health, which comes under GS paper 2. So I want to give you one first homework of today. So please let me know in comment box what are the difference between this Covishield and Covaxin. Like which company it is manufacturing, whether it is inactivated vaccine or mRNA vaccine. So how many doses they need to be given, okay. So what is the time gap between first dose and second dose, and what is effectivity? Okay, so let me know in comment box. Don't forget about this homework. So if you don't know answer, please do some research in Google and try to answer it. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article mainly talking about this COVID-19 vaccines. So if you see here, this article mainly says that 2 doses of this Covishield vaccine which produced more antibodies than Covaxin doses. So here we went for serological studies. That means we are withdrawing blood of people who took this Covaxin and as well as Covishield, and we are identifying number of antibodies are present. So this context mainly says that Covishield vaccine which mainly produced more antibodies than this Covaxin doses. Okay, so this article also says that there is relatively fewer instances of breakthrough infections according to study which mainly made by healthcare workers in India. And if you're talking about some details, it mainly says that study which is being peer reviewed, submitted to a journal. Okay, so name of that journal is Medirix online repository. So if you're talking about highlights of this study, it mainly says that study of real world effectiveness of this vaccination in India. So it mainly says that there is some difference in protection which mainly accorded by Covaxin and as well as Covishield. So this exercise, it is a pan-India exercises. They are mainly studying about vaccine responses in doctors in 13 states and as well as 22 cities. So among these 515 healthcare workers, who are 305 members are male and 210 people are female, they said that 95% they showed seropositivity. And overall antibodies, they are mainly targeting this spike protein. They were higher in Covishield than compared to that of this Covaxin. So it is one more again cause of concern for Covaxin. And next one is mild to moderate adverse events. They are mainly associated with both vaccines were similar here. And there is nothing evidence regarding some severe unsolicited side effects whenever we are taking this vaccine candidates. So this is just of this topic, and don't forget about your homework. Now let us move on to next topic. Title says Delta variant 40% more transmissible. So this article mainly talking about Delta variant. Recently WHO came up with the naming of these variants like Alpha variant for UK and Beta variant for South African variant and Delta variant for Indian double mutant variant, right? So because of this is in news, and this article mainly says that some recent studies says that this Delta variant which is more transmissible. Okay, so this article will be important regarding GS paper 3 under science and technology. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article mainly talking about this Delta variant. So context says that Britain's health secretary, he said that Delta variant, which is a fast becoming the most dominant coronavirus variant in UK, and it is 40% more transmissible compared to already existing strains. So if you are talking about some facts regarding this variant, B1617 variant, which was first detected in India, it is also called as double mutant virus of India, which is mainly divided into 3 lineage. B16171, B16172, B16173. So B16172, which is mainly named as this delta by WHO. So if you are talking about this delta variants, which is a highly multiple mutations are seen here, and they are appear to have more advantage because they are more transmissible. And if you are talking about variants of concerns, so WHO, World Health Organization, mainly classifies these variants as variants of concern whenever they are having some problems like increase in transmissibility and increasing virulence and as well as decreasing effectiveness of vaccines. Okay, so this is gist of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says media and sedition. So this article mainly talking about sedition law. Already background regarding this we discussed. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So one important section in our IPC which mainly deals with sedition, that is section 124A. So we are going to discuss about a recent case of one journalist, okay. And next one is we are going to see some guidelines which are given in Kedarnath Singh case of 1962. So this topic will be very important from polity point of view, which comes under GS paper 2. And this topic is also related to modern history also. So in modern history you need to know about important Indian national freedom fighters who are mainly trailed under this sedition law. So let me know, those are two important people, okay. So let me know in comment box, don't forget about this. So first let us try to see this topic. So here this article mainly talking about this Kedarnath Singh sedition ruling, which is related to now journalist Vinod Dua in HP. So context here is Supreme Court squashed, that means striked off sedition case which filed against this journalist Vinod Dua in Himachal Pradesh. So now let us try to see what is this case first. So here journalist Vinod Dua allegedly made some remarks against our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he also criticized government's handling of migrant crisis. So because of this, one BJP leader filed sedition case against this person under section 124A of Indian Penal Code. So under this section, if any person which is mainly filed case under this section, so this section mainly provides punishment for sedition. It will be punishable with either imprisonment from 3 years to lifetime imprisonment or fine or even both, okay. So this is about this sedition law which is present in India, that is section 124A of IPC. And if you are talking about the Supreme Court ruling regarding this case, Supreme Court strike down or quashed this case. Supreme Court mainly said that, so his remarks mainly constituted some generic criticism of government. Okay, it could not be labeled as sedition. So in this context, Supreme Court reiterated that principles in landmark case of sedition, that is Kedarnath Singh versus Union of India 1962. So now let us try to see guidelines of this Kedarnath Singh case of 1962. Here Supreme Court upheld that yes, we need this sedition law under this section 124A of IPC. And in this context, Supreme Court also attempted that to restrict its scope or misuse of this sedition law. Here Supreme Court said that unless and until which is accompanied by an incitement or call for violence and criticism of government, that cannot be labeled as a sedition. Whenever any criticism which is made against government, whenever it is leading to violence or whenever it is leading to accompanying an incitement, then only it will comes under this sedition. Okay, mere criticism will not comes under sedition. So this is about this guidelines of this. So this is just of this topic. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says behavioral change can reduce a transmission. So now there is a second wave of pandemic that is going on now, and we are seeing number of cases are declining, right? So now there is also threat of third wave of this coronavirus. So in this third wave of this coronavirus, we need to go for prevention. Okay, whenever we are taking some steps and whenever we are having some behavioral change towards this transmission, then we can ultimately decrease this rate of transmission in third wave of this coronavirus. And this article mainly talking about how to improve mask wearing. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under health. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So this article mainly talking about mask wearing. So two large parts of this pandemic here is medical science and second one is human behavior. And if you're talking about medical science, we are having different drugs to treat. We are having oxygen ventilators, oxygen, etc. Right? So but if you are talking about prevention of this transmission, we need to go for universal vaccination. So this universal vaccination that will reduce infections of this COVID-19. But if you're talking about this universal vaccination, so there is one challenge we are facing is availability of this vaccine. And second one is if you are not going for this universal vaccination, we cannot achieve this herd immunity also, right? So this is about medical science. And if you are talking about this human behavior, so we need to follow physical distancing and we need to go for regular proper hand washing and we need to go for wearing of mask. But these steps they are not following by people. Okay, so we are not wearing mask, right? So if you see some data which is given, so it mainly says that global survey of COVID-19 knowledge, attitudes and practices. So this is study which mainly conducted by Johns Hopkins Center for Communication Programs in that is between July 2020 till March 2021. So this study mainly says that India saw 5% of drop in mask wearing. And later on in second week period, that is in peak second wave of coronavirus, again 15 to 84% of people they are using more mask. So what is need here? So need here is we need to bring some behavioral change in people and we need to bring some attitudinal change regarding this mask wearing. Okay. So and we need to come up with some strategic approaches, resources can be more efficiently that can be used. And we need to increase use of this mask now to prevent this transmission of this coronavirus. And this article mainly focused on 7 ways that can be followed to improve adherence to this mask wearing. So first and foremost thing here is we need some basic information regarding effectiveness in preventing this COVID-19 transmission. That means how effectively these masks are working to prevent this COVID-19 transmission. And we need to give information regarding who can wear this mask and when we have to wear this mask and where we have to wear this mask. And we need to give some clarity regarding different types of masks which are available in market and which mask it is more effective. And next one is we need to provide some information regarding how to wear mask efficiently. Some people will wear mask, nose will be outside of this mask. They will cover only mouth. And some people they wear mask on this chin. And some people they wear mask on this nose. So because of this, whenever we are not wearing mask efficiently, so then there will be increased risk of transmission of this coronavirus. Okay. So in this context, we need to use televisions, newspaper, radio, and as well as local healthcare workers to provide education regarding how to wear this mask. Okay. And we need to also provide some information regarding when to wear double mask. Okay. So first one is we need to provide some basic information to people. And next one is not everyone has same information needs. Because some group of people they do not believe that mask will prevent transmission of this coronavirus. But some people they will agree that if they don't wear this mask consistently, then they will get this coronavirus. So because of this, one group of people they won't accept this fact. Some people they will accept but they will not follow this. So because of this, we need to communicate each group differently and according to their views, according to their beliefs. And next one is we need to communicate regarding what will be the benefits of mask wearing. And we need to highlight some stories of how this mask that led to decrease in transmission of this coronavirus in so and so communities where mask wearing which is very much high. And we need to share some testimonials of people who are wearing this mask. And next important thing we can do here is we can create a positive social norm around this mask wearing. We need to use influencers and as well as advertisements, messages and visuals regarding how to use this mask and everything. And next one is we need to enforce correct and consistent mask wearing, and we need to take this mask wearing as a collective responsibility but not individual responsibility. And we need to compassionate leadership. So because these leaders, they can play both positive and as well as negative role in influencing people behavior. So leaders, they have to lead with empathy. That means they need to understand problems of people, and here leaders, they need to build and they need to hold trust of people they lead. And finally, we need some responsible media also. So these are the steps that can be taken to improve mask wearing. So this is gist of this topic. I hope it is clear. And next article is about sex workers. So before saying that, I want to make a small announcement on this platform. So if you want to clear UPSC 2022, we came up with one excellent, highly beneficial and also highly economical course, that is current affairs package along with the mains answer writing practice. So how this course will be useful? So one thing you need to remember here is before entering into examination hall, you need to know at least 1.5 years current affairs for sure. And this is right time to join this course to cover this 1.5 years current affairs in a comprehensive manner. And why you need to focus on this current affairs? Because if you see in prelims or in mains and even in interview, you can expect questions from this current affairs. So you need to master current affairs to answer those all questions. So if you're talking about mains answer writing practice, many people who are freshers or who are beginners, they ignore this mains answer writing practice. So because of this, even though with their hard work, if they clear prelims, they cannot clear mains without proper answer writing skills. And in this course, we are mainly focusing on how to improve your answer writing skills. And next one is, if you join this course, we also conduct prelims test on every Sunday, and we also provide you video explanation part. So in this way, this course which is designed as per demand of UPSC. Finally, I want to say one thing. Please don't take this course as a choice. Try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. So for further details of this course, link which is given in description box, so please visit that once. And if you want to talk to me directly, you can call to this number 8074765513. Now let's come back and let us see next article. Title says recognizing sex work as a work. So central theme mainly says that adults who earn by providing sexual services, they should be granted basic labor rights. Okay, so this article mainly focusing on sex work. So because of this COVID-19 pandemic, millions of people they affected. Okay, so in this millions of people, the most vulnerable people are sex workers. So this article mainly says that this is right time to recognize the sex work as a work, and these sex workers, they need to be given some basic labor rights. So now let us talk about this topic in a very great detail. So this topic will be important regarding GS paper 2 under polity and as well as society point of view. And this topic will be exclusively important regarding mains point of view. So if you see context, it mainly says that pandemic that hit millions of people's life, and it also caused a great deal of suffering across different communities which are present in our society. So one community that hit hard is sex workers. So for this sex workers, this sex work, it is a non-recognized thing. It is a non-recognized legitimate work. So sex workers, they have mostly been kept on arm's length from government relief programs. So COVID-19 provided now a most important reason to consider long demand of these sex workers in India, mainly to decriminalize sex work and as well as to guarantee set of labor rights for these sex workers also. So this is one of most important demand which is mainly from sex workers in India. So if you are talking about legislations which are present in India to deal with this sex work, that is Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. So if you are talking about background of this Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, so there is Suppression of Immoral Traffic in Human and Child Act 1956, and we came up with a number of amendments to this act, and finally this act renamed to Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. So under this act we are going to penalize acts like brothels and soliciting in public place and habitually being in company of a sex worker. And this act also represents that sex work, it is a morally wrong, because people who involved in this sex work, women never having consent to it voluntarily, because they are not having any consent to enter into this work voluntarily. And there is also some popular depiction like entry into sex work, it is involuntary and they are mainly forced through depiction. Okay, and it also believed that women, they needed to be rescued and as well as rehabilitated whenever they don't want to do this work voluntarily. So based on this belief, sex work, it is a easy work and no one will or should choose this practice. Here government came up with this act. If you are talking about sex workers in India, they are most prone to violence, discrimination, also harassment. So because of this, we need this type of act. But if you are talking about some important negatives of this act, so it mainly denies individual right on their bodies, and it also imposes will of state over adults who are articulating their life choices. And this act also gives no agency to sex workers to fight against traffickers. And in fact, here what happened, because of there is no agency, so these people, they are now more susceptible to be harassed by state officials itself. And this act also fails to recognize that many women, they are willing to enter into these agreements with traffickers because they want to seek some better life. It is an easy work, right? Better life as chosen by them. So even some evidence mainly shows that many women, they choose to remain this sex work despite of opportunity to leave after rehabilitation, mainly done by government agencies and as well as non-government organizations. After that rehabilitation also, they are mainly again moving into this sex works. Okay, so because of this, finally, if you are talking about labor rights, so even Justice Verma Commission that acknowledged between women who are trafficked for commercial sexual exploitation and women who are consenting, they want voluntarily to go into this field. Okay, so this Justice Verma Committee also acknowledged this thing, and this article now mainly says that this is right time to recognize this sex work as a work, and we need to stop ourselves from assigning morality to their work because it is their choice. Okay, adult men, women and transgender people who are working in this sex work, they have right to earn providing some sexual service, and they have right to live with dignity, and they have right to remain free from violence, exploitation, stigma and discrimination. And even some Supreme Court judgment regarding this Buddha Dev Karmaskar versus State of West Bengal. So here court held that these sex workers, they have right to live with dignity. So finally, this article mainly says that it is time to rethink about this sex work from labor perspective, and we need to recognize their work and we need to guarantee them with basic labor rights. So this is gist of this topic and I hope it is clear. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. And don't forget to enroll this current affairs package. Thank you so much.